Hey guys, welcome to Ignite Motorrad, and yes, it's been a substantially long time since we've shot a proper full-on bike review. But meanwhile, we have shot some very cool short big bike videos, so you should go check those out if you haven't already. Okay, so today, courtesy of KTM-Husqvarna Karve Road, with us we have the all-new 2022 iteration of KTM's RC200. Now, seeing as the previous generation bike was such a smashing hit, they're everywhere, people love that bike. This one has a lot to live up to. So, without further ado, let's dive straight in and see what's what. Okay, so from what I gather from social media, a few YouTube videos, and even just, talking to people in general, a lot of you guys are not too happy with how this bike looks. I think a lot of you preferred the old RC's double barrel headlights, the more conservative but sharp creasing, and most of all, the cowl styled pillion seat. I've heard that a lot of you don't like, in particular, the front of this new bike. I mean, I get it, okay? When I saw the spy shots of this, I was on the fence as well. It is a very large front end. The surface area is very big. It doesn't look as sleek or as edgy or as sharp as before. But trust me, I know this will sound cliche if you've seen other reviews of this bike, but if you see this bike in the flesh, you will get what they're trying to do. It looks a lot more like the KTM race bike, and the design, it works more than you expect it to. Now, while I am one of the very few people that actually quite like the way this bike looks, I will say this, that it is not what you would call a gorgeous motorcycle. It looks good, it's proportionate in the flesh, as I said earlier. It is a very sharp machine. But if I had to summarize this, it's not a bike that makes me go, oh wow, what a machine. Rather, it's a bike that makes me go, huh, nice motorcycle, and then continue walking. Part of this new design are the new cowl integrated indicators, larger mirrors, and a taller bubble visor, which are not only appearance centric aspects but have a function following the form for actual riding benefits. Even the seat is now flatter than before, which for the rider means you won't feel like you're falling into the tank of your own bike anymore, and both people sit more planted than before, and the foam is better as well, which is good news especially for the pillion, because the last generation's pillion seat, while it looked cool, it was an abomination in the comfort department. The clip-ons are now higher and closer to the rider as well, and height adjustable, which promises slightly more relaxed ergonomics if you're going to be going slightly longer distances. Okay, so you might be wondering why we're doing this review here and not on a track. Well, there's two reasons for that. The first one, if I'm being honest, is that we don't have access to a track right now. And the second reason is because a wise man from one of our favorite automotive channels once said,
my experience says RC390s will go to the racetrack a lot, RC200s will almost never go to the racetrack, so how they feel on the street specifically is very important.
And I totally agree. A real world test with speed breakers and traffic on our streets is what a larger number of prospective buyers will be interested in. So that's exactly what we're doing. So let's get to the engine of this bike. This all-new 2022 RC200 has exactly the same engine as the previous generation RC, which is a 199.5cc liquid-cooled single. However, there are some changes. This engine has revised mapping, the radiator is 10% larger, and the airbox is 40% bigger. What all this promises is that this RC200 will run cooler than its previous generation. The trellis frame on this RC200 is 1.5 kilograms lighter than the previous one, and even the wheels are stronger yet lighter. What this means is that the unsprung mass of this motorcycle is a lot less than before, and to sum it up, the dry weight of the 2022 RC is 3.3 kilograms less than the last one. As soon as I got onto the RC, the bike immediately greeted me with its typical sports bike stance, which makes for a really involving riding posture, but isn't my posture of choice for long distances. But then again, this bike wasn't really made with the intention of doing long distances, so we can gloss over that. Firing the RC up revealed pretty much the exact exhaust note I was expecting from the bike. It's a departure from the very old KTM tones, but it's the same slightly unrefined firing noise which starts yelling as you rev it higher and higher. We know that this is very much a rev-happy engine, and that's where it sounds best. The narrow tank portion allows you to tuck your legs into the bike for a strong hold over the machine better than before, and the new bubble visor up front means tucking down results in a significantly better aerodynamic position. The seat is definitely more comfy than before, and holding a comfortable riding posture over a slightly longer distance will definitely be an easier task now. The braking performance is really good. The front disc is now bigger, and this used in conjunction with the bike's dual ABS allows for extremely effective emergency stops and slowing down. The suspension units at the front and back are pretty much the same, but you now get 10 mm more travel up front. Now getting to how the engine feels. We've seen this exact motor in a lot of bikes, the Bajaj NS and RS as well as the KTM Duke and RC. And you will totally believe that any significant engine enhancements haven't been done here because it feels exactly the same. It's extremely unrefined, very quick, and happiest when you're revving it out. It's a pretty exciting power plant overall, however there are a few problems. One main problem of this engine which I've come to observe is that the amount of torque on offer per gear, especially in higher gears, was never quite enough, and slowing down and then wanting to accelerate again meant frequently downshifting to get the grunt you need to speed up. Now this is less of an issue here, which I believe is the revised mapping doing its thing, so you do feel more torque lower down in each gear than before, but the issue is still sort of there. It hasn't been totally eliminated, but for a minor engine tweak I'd say it's pretty effective. The other issue is that the catastrophic refinement levels creep into the bodywork really easily, especially the foot pegs. The handlebars get mild vibrations, but when you're in the engine's happy place, that is revving it out, the foot pegs vibrate like mad, and it's quite an unpleasant feeling because this means keeping the bike in its suitable RPM range means having to be okay with these annoying buzzing foot pegs. It's still a fun bike, don't get me wrong. The RC was always going to be a fun bike. But it's just that while the mechanical and internal changes have been intelligently applied, I just feel like they aren't enough of an upgrade to the RC to say that it is a substantially improved machine. Maybe the 390 with even more goodies will be a different story. Guess we'll have to wait till early next year to find out about that. Now the build quality and fit and finish of the previous generation RC was honestly nothing to write home about. Now while this one is a lot better, it's still nothing to write home about. I mean, if you just see here, this seat, it's all new, better padding, everything's fine, but why is it moving? It shouldn't move. I mean, it doesn't inspire a lot of confidence. And these plastics up front don't feel, they don't have a very premium feel to them. And while if you look at the bike from a distance, looks pretty damn premium, but when you approach it closer, then you start to see the shortcomings, the cost cutting and all that stuff. Could have been better. Now to prove that the vibrations are still very much present, let me just show you something fun. Let's call it fun. Yeah, why not? This is idling. I'm not revving it a lot. Take a look at the wing mirror. Okay, to sum up this all-new bike, which so many of you guys are interested in, it's a good sports bike, but it has its flaws. I mean, perfect bikes don't really exist at this price. It's a good sports bike. It's really fun to ride. Refinement, not that great, but you have to kind of get used to that when you have a KTM. The frantic performance is what you're getting. The torque issue has slightly been fixed, so that is good news, but it is still very much there. You'll be comfortable, your pillion will be more comfortable, you will have a blast, but do not expect perfection. And on top of that, the good thing is that the new bike costs exactly the same as the previous bike, which is 2.09 lakh rupees ex-showroom. So for the same amount of money, you're getting a complete design overhaul and some subtle but very intelligent changes in the mechanics of the bike. So if you ask me, it's a good deal, but as is the case with all motorcycles, head over to your nearest showroom, take a test ride, look at it in the flesh, and then decide for yourself. Huge thanks to KTM-Husqvarna Karve Road for providing us with this bike. My name is Devashish Puranik, you're watching Ignite Motorrad, and ride safe.